Test. It's kind of weird. Very weird. That's loud. It's kind of oof. But it sounds nice. Sounds nice, y'all. I don't know. It's kind of like cocked sideways. Hold on now. That might be it. Okay. Okay. This is a little better. A bigger light right there. It's kind of dark. I have a light there. I have a light there. I really should have one back here. Does it even make a difference? Yeah. Yeah, you can. Hold on, dude. I actually have another account. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why do I? Oh, no, I can't do it. Not on this one. Hold on. I'm on another account, dude. That's what's so crazy. So I do that so I can see the chat because I can't see it over there. This is all running through my phone. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, that's loud. Ooh, that's what you guys hear. Test. Test. I need my own feed. I have my own feed. There's like sheetrock on the cymbals. There's sheetrock on this kit. I gotta clean it. I installed another a light fixture. Evidently, it's not bright enough, so I'll probably gonna get a brighter one, a brighter bulb. But I don't know, man. Long as it works. My favorite rudiments, I ain't gonna give you no corny answer. I'm gonna be like, man, all of them. I ain't gonna give you no corny fake answer. You know what, man? I have a favorite group. I have like a favorite three. Singles, doubles, paradiddles, four-stroke rolls. Well, I have a certain group. Flams. I like flam taps. I love flam taps for speed. Flam taps will give you speed. But flams, four-stroke rolls, five-stroke rolls, six-stroke rolls, sometimes 7 and 8, 7 and 9-stroke rolls. It depends. But singles, of course, doubles, of course. Paradiddles, but I don't do regular. I always do inverted paradiddles because they sound like you're doing this. They sound the same, so you can't tell the difference, or no one else can for that matter. But I like inverted paradiddles because it's an easy way to do something. It's easier way. It's easier than this. That's the only reason why I do them. Now I can do a little rusty right now, but once my hands and blood flow, then. Oh, man. Oh, he was young. Oh, man. Oh, man. He was young. Benny Hill, he died in his 60s? Hey, he died sitting in his lazy boy, watching TV. That's rough. But yeah, so I have, like that's, like I said, singles, doubles, paradiddles, singles, doubles, inverted paradiddles, flams. Flam taps are good for, flam taps too. I usually use them as warm-ups. 4-stroke, 5-stroke, 6-stroke, 7-stroke, 9, 4, 5, and 6. Sometimes 7, sometimes 9-stroke rolls. And then that's really what I focus on. You know, I don't get too deep into all the 11,000. You know, um, I not to say that I wouldn't, it's not to say that I can't. I like to. This is very loud. I like to, you know, it's like eating an elephant. You're not gonna try to eat the whole elephant. You eat a little, and you digest it. You poop out what you don't need. Whatever. You eat a little, rinse, wash, rinse, repeat. Um, so I'll learn a section, but I only learn more when what I've already learned I can use it in a tasteful way, and sometimes that takes like years. So you know I don't I used to learn stuff just to learn it, and then it was like, what am I going to use it for? Just to impress people? And people be like, yeah, and they'd be like, do some more of that, and you don't know anymore. Like, you learn a basic Latin beat, and they're like, okay, well, do you know Guaguanco? Do you know Mozambique? Do you know? And you like, So I only know that stuff because I live next to a guy who was a Cuban guy who was a percussionist for Herbie Hancock for a while. 5,000 bricks in Nicaragua. Ah, who's selling bricks for $5,000? You must know the plug. Oh, this guy was flying them. Oh, he was flying them across the border into America. Nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. My favorite drummer. Um, um, Mate, I don't know if you asked that question. My favorite rudiment. It's hard, bro. It's for me. It's not that cut and dry. Just like my favorite drummer. You know, um, just like it's not that cut and dry as far as my favorite. I don't have a favorite. Like that's like I don't have a favorite genre of music. I like a lot of drummers. You'd be surprised. Even the chick from the White Stripes. You know, she sucks, but she means it. You know what I mean? She means it. She sucks with conviction. She plays drums with conviction. You know what I mean? As long as you play with some conviction and you're not just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Like I can learn from a 8-year-old. If I see that, he's got like something that I like, his little spark. I'm like, man, okay, I could kind of get something from it. You know, so I don't know, man. I mean, I could just throw out drummers, but like Bonham, Neil Peart, Carl Palmer, Mitch Mitchell. I don't like Ginger Baker. I think he was a bum. Sorry, he's a bum. He's overrated. What's the name was carrying him? Eric Clapton was carrying him. But I'll say this: Alex Van Halen was overrated. He was overshadowed because Alex was dope. I got a lot of my snare tone from Alex. My snare tone is Alex Van Halen's Circular, the 1984 album, and I didn't even like the 1984 album. I liked Van Halen 1 and 2, Women and Children First, Fair Warning. Those are the only albums I like from them. Diver Now is trash. It was cool. There were like great things on there, like little guitars, Cathedral, but like, and even Pretty Woman, it was a cool pop tune, but whatever. But anything after Fair Warning, I'm not really feeling. The best sounding Van Halen album, 1984, hands down, hands down. Even their stuff later on with Sammy Hagar, I just like that. I don't think you can't compare it to like 1984's sound. That was 5150 Studios. I think everything after that was, after Diver. I think they got it like I want to say right after Diver Down. Eddie had 5150 Studios, and everything else was recorded from that, which was really, really, anything that was recorded at 5150 sounded great. Um, but I learned all Alex those first 4 albums. Well, I learned not much of. I think I learned some stuff from 1984. I learned like Hot for Teacher and stuff like that. Because it was a boogie. I don't have a double pedal, so I can't. But I learned every Rush album from Fly By Night, which is the first one Neil Peart joined, to Signals, which came out in like 19. No, Chutes and Ladders. I even learned the live albums with the drum solos. All the World's a Stage, that was their first live album. And Exit Stage Left, their second live album. Both drum solos. But they had a lot of bootlegs. I even learned the drum solos on the bootlegs. Because there's certain drum solos that Neil does that he would use flangers on his drums, you know? Or he would just like use flanger on the snare and have weird effects on the drums. He was doing this back in the day. But the stuff that got put on albums, like Exit Stage Left and All the World's a Stage, they didn't do any of it. I don't like that. Like you might be able to find it now on YouTube. I learned every Zeppelin album. I learned every Hendrix album for Mitch Mitchell. I learned couple Sabbath albums, even the ones with Ronnie Dio. I learned every Ozzy. Well, no, the Ozzy albums like Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. After that, I just wasn't. When Randy died, I was good. I learned Emerson Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery with the solos. Tarkus with the solos, which with the 22-minute song and a solo in it, note for note. Trilogy. I learned that album note for note. I learned Yngwie Malmsteen. I learned his album. I was like, I would love to have a guitarist like Yngwie, so I'll learn his stuff. Because maybe one day I'll end up, you have those teenage dreams. Yngwie will walk into the local music store, and he'll see me playing drums. Bro, wake up. But, I don't know, man. And then I learned, but while I was learning that stuff, I was learning Billy Cobham solos, note for note. Everything off of Crosswind, everything off of Shabazz, everything off of Spectrum. I was learning Miles Davis, so I was kind of bouncing, in between rock and that stuff's not jazz, it's fusion. It's technically not jazz. It's jazz. It's jazz musicians' version of rock music. That's what it is. That's what fusion is. Fusion is jazz musicians' version of rock music. It's the energy and bombast and fu of rock and roll, but the improvisation of jazz. It's kind of like what guys like Thundercat do. His stuff's it's fusion. It's really classic fusion. Why do you think he gets jazz guys? He's a jazz bassist. I can't remember his name. The keyboard player. He's a jazz bassist. He's a jazz keyboardist. His drummer, Justin Brown, is a jazz drummer. The drummer before him, Thomas Pridgeon, was a gospel drummer who played rock and jazz. So it's like, it seems new because Thundercat's doing it, but it's been going on since like the late 60s. What Thundercat's doing. It's been going on forever. He just put his own spin on it, So, but, I like that kind of music. I like stuff that's, like, even like Animals as leaders. Like, I like Matt Garska. Matt Garska scares me. I remember Matt Garska when he was just a YouTube kid. He was like 14 or 15. I tell this story all the time. He was 14 or 15. His dad had the channel. His dad is a guitarist. His dad is a insane, can play anything, ridiculous guitarist. And then he had this black dude with dreads. He played a fretless 4-string, and he could sing. And he was the singer and bass player. He could sing and play piano. And Matt was the drummer. He was like 14 or 15. And Matt was playing ridiculous drum solos over crazy stuff. And then he went to Berkeley. Like you would see him doing stuff. You would see him doing ostinatos. Like he's playing. and he's doing like all kinds of stuff. Oh, like it's a 14-year-old kid. Then he went to Berkeley, and he was like a man amongst boys in Berkeley. Like he was murdering in Berkeley. Like he would be in the gospel. He's the only white kid in the gospel shit. Like murdering. Like it was obvious. You know, that was the year Justin Tyson. I think you had Sticks. I think you had Sean Chops Wright. You had Matt Garska. But and it wasn't really fair because Matt, oh man, when your dad's a fusion guitarist, it's really not fair. Like you're gonna be that advanced, so you know it made sense, you know. But he was just killing, and he's like the best of both worlds because he knows jazz, he knows Latin. Well, best of all worlds. I've seen him play Latin. I've seen him play jazz. Like he's got experience of just shedding and going to bars and clubs, shedding, you know. And going to, you know, play rock, you know. And I you know what? The reason why I like him because I used to do that. When I was in high school, I was like 15 playing with guys in bars and clubs. And back then I had a little scruff. I've been shaving very early, you know. But so they kind of figured, oh, okay, he with the band, he's a drummer. But all that stuff, all that jazz stuff I was learning, I would hang with my boy Dave Bizzigatti, and he was a guitarist. He switched to bass and became like an insane bassist. But back then, it was Nick Spons on bass, me and my boy Dave Bizzigatti. I was taking all the jazz stuff I learned, and I was playing that stuff. And people were like, dude, where'd you get all that stuff? And I'm like, man, I just got it from so-and-so, such and such. And then they'd be like, I want to hear it. And then I'd play it for them. They'd be like, it sounds like an elevator. It sounds like elevator music. I'm like, okay, well, cool. You know, don't ask where I get all these tricks, though. Don't ask where I get all these licks and all these riffs and, you know, how I can, don't ask. That's where I get it from, you know. I didn't like it either. I had to acquire a taste for it, you know. But it's, you know, you got to acquire a taste for it, you know. But Stuart Copeland, I learned every Police album. The only Red Hot Chili Peppers I like is Mother's Milk. Anything after Blood Sugar Sex and Magic is cool. But I think Chad Smith is a monster. I learned like the first 3 Metallica albums. Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, and I can't remember the other one after that. And Justice for All. You know what? There's another album I learned. Another Metallica album. I can't remember it. I used to love Anthrax. Charlie Benante, he's a great drummer. I learned. I can't remember. It's got Antisocial on it. And Garage Days Revisited. That's old school metal classic. Garage Days Revisited. You guys look that up. I don't know, man. There's so many. Like, if I really, really like a drummer, I'm going to learn all of his stuff. Like, even with Dennis Chambers, I started getting into Dennis Chambers. I learned, like, the first album he did with John Scofield when he got famous, Blue Matter. I learned Loud Jazz. I learned, he's got Blue Matter, Loud Jazz, and Pick Hits live. I learned all that stuff. And then I learned all the stuff he did with Mike Stern. And then I learned all the stuff he did with Bob Berg. And then I learned all the stuff he did with Carlos Santana. You know what I mean? And same thing with Vinnie Colaiuta. I learned the stuff like the Garage Days. Joe's Garage. There's a song, Keep It Greasy. That's a song, Keep It Greasy. Takes getting used to. But I've had to play that song for like, I was like maybe 15, 16. They had me playing that stuff, and I would have to learn that, bro. The guys I was playing with were like 26, 27. They were older than me. You know, so it was kind of, I had to keep up with them, but they were the only guy that was like, okay, he's dumb enough to actually try to learn this stuff, so let's throw it at him. So, you know. But, you know, that's Vinny Colaiuta. I learned this stuff, the stuff he did with, all the stuff he did with John Patitucci. I just scoured everywhere looking for stuff that Vinny Colaiuta learned. All the stuff he did with Alan Holdsworth. I learned that stuff. Dave Weckl, same thing. I learned all the stuff he did because all the stuff he did with Chick Corea. You know what I mean? I even learned his stuff that he did before he was with Chick Corea. His bootlegs out there. So, like, I don't know, like, there's so many, I don't have a favorite drummer. There's so many drummers that I like. And if I like them, I learn everything they do, I learn it. You know, unless it's like, if it starts getting kind of, I'm like, all right, bro. You know, but, you know, I learn, you know, I like obsess over, what is this guy doing? How does he, you know, so I can't get it out of my head until I learn, until I consume it, and then I can, you know, kind of put it together and like, oh, I see what he does, and I can actually, you know, I have to learn it so I can do this. Literally pick it in my mind's eye. I can be like, oh, that's what he does, and then I can do it, you know, so. Yo, that was actually that was a Herbie Hancock. That was a song that Jocko plays on. Yeah, it's a Herbie Hancock song. I think it's like 4 a.m. Yeah, I think it's called like 4 a.m. Harvey Mason on drums, of course Herbie, and Jaco Pastores on bass. I'm trying to think of the other. They have another song. Herbie has another song. He worked with Jaco on a few tunes. You know, so. Woo, there we go. I had to turn on the fan. Had to turn on the fan. This dude is the most boring drug smuggler. I don't want to hear his stories. Unless people ain't chasing you or you're not dealing with Mexican cartels or... Bro, your stories are whack, bro. Nobody wants to hear about cow poop on the bags of weed, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Go away. Go away. Billy Cobham, Spectrum. I might have seen this. This is the guy that I talked about earlier about as far as drummers. Billy Cobham is performing the album Spectrum live, Norway, 1974. It's old, but all them rock and roll guys, that double bass work, they got it from him. Trust me. I started learning that double bass stuff from him. And then when I started playing it, guys were like, yo, that's dope. Well, they weren't saying that, but they were like, whoa. You know, so it was this guy. He's one of the guys. Them old school, prehistoric microphones. I'd love to have his drum set right now. Like the one that's in this video. Oh, I remember this drum set. Michael Brecker on saxophone, the late great. Yes, sir, Harvey Mason. Wow. Uh. Yo. Show the drummer. He's doing some crazy stuff. There were times he would go on tour. He said, man, he was like about to like he thought he was gonna die from exhaustion just from playing so many drum solos. Like it almost killed him, you know. And if you see the guy's like, you know, he's the reason I started lifting weights, man. Really, seeing guys like him, you know. Billy Cobb, man. If you haven't heard of him, he's the foundation for a lot of what you see in like just he covered so much ground. Dudes who play open-handed because he played open-handed. He also played this way. He had a ride cymbal over here and a ride cymbal over here. His drums went from, and he played on kind of like right-handed setup, but instead of high tom here to low tom there, he had low toms here, but high tom here, low tom there, and a floor tom right there. So it's completely backwards. Like his stuff was just all over the place. Like he would set, if you see guys today setting their kits up all weird and funny, he was doing that in the late 60s. Like having these weird configurations. Like you can't, he covered so much ground, you can't get away from him. Like you can't help but being influenced by him, even if you don't even realize you're being influenced by him. Sloppy. Oh my God, he's gonna play the solo. This is what I want to hear. Ugh! Show the drummer. Nobody wants to see him. Oh my God. This is in 1974. And they're playing like it's. Oh my God. That, oh my God. Uh, and he still ain't done. But that comes from touring. It comes from touring. Being able to play at that level comes from touring. That's how I got where I am now, just playing every day and being kind of like forced to play every day. And you know, like I've been in situations where I'm like this, just keeping it simple. And I got the hold on. And I don't want no name. I don't want to name no names. I don't want to put them out there like that. But and we laugh about it, but I still ain't gonna put his name out there. He stopped the song and turned around and was like, Mark, like real quiet, not on the mic, but Mark, you constipated? What's going on, man? What's happening? What's going on? I'm like, what, man? Whatever. In my mind, I'm like, I'm keeping it simple. He's like, that ain't what I hired you for. And I took that to mean he want chops. You know? So I had to, I had to play chops, you know? I've been in situations where, I've been in gospel situations where they have a break in a song, in a gospel song, and there's a drum solo, and they're like, well, we want you to play a solo right there. And in my mind, I'm like, because then everybody looks at you, and generally when people play the drum solo, that's when you get up and go to the bathroom, So I'm like, all right, man. So it's kind of like the embarrassment of thinking about all that, but that's what the people wanted. That's what the congregation wanted. That's what the band director wanted. That's what the preacher wanted. That's what they wanted. That's what I mean. It's like gospel. You're required to play at a really high level, But like I've done corporate gigs where we were playing a 2-hour gig. The first hour, about 2 hours. First hour, first half of the show, we're playing. We grooving. Well, I auditioned, and the dude, he's seeing me warm up. So in his mind, he's like, oh, this one of them Chops Monsters dudes. I found this out later. We do the gig, I'm playing pocket. That's what he paid me for. He paid me for pocket. He's a grooving type dude. Groove on a saxophone, and, So then we do that hour. He goes, hey, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm like, for what? He's like, I'm thinking he farted or something. He's like, oh, I thought you would like, because I'm like, oh, he farted or, I'm about to be like, bro, He's like, yo, man. No, I seriously thought he farted. I was about to get mad. But he's like, I'm sorry, man. I thought you were just like going to play chops everywhere. He's like, you're a pocket player. I said, yeah, that's what you paid me for. I could read the room. He goes, man, that's cool, man. And we finished the other half, and every other song he's throwing drum solos. I'm like, all right, bro. So much so that I ran out of stuff to use. I started repeating myself. Because I was just like, how many drum solos you going? I'm not prepared to play a solo every other song. And then he would mash songs together. We play like one long song for like a 15-minute song, and he gonna throw like 3 solos in it, like drum solos in it. He gonna point at me 3 times. Go on, Mark, take a solo. And then one time he had me take a solo. I'm doing stuff to kind of signal him to come back in because I'm getting tired. It's toward the end of the night. It's probably like 12:45 at night. Almost, it's like 15 minutes of 1 in the morning. So I'm like tired, man, and because I'm thinking I got to pack my drums up, and I got a little cart, pack them, which it makes it really easy. But I'm thinking about all that. I mean, he threw one solo where it was like, all right, bro, when you gonna come back in? I was just running out of stuff to do. I found out later he ran out of stuff to solo. He ran out of stuff to do. Like you know, he's the saxophonist. You know, he was the saxophonist and the singer. So, and most of the songs were instrumentals. So he's playing instrumental versions of songs instead of singing it. He just played on the saxophone. So he later on, I was like, yo, why you do all that, man? He was like, I was running out of stuff to solo, bro. I was gonna start repeating myself. I was like, all right, well, crap rolls downhill. I ain't telling that, but I was like, crap rolls downhill. I get it. But yeah, so I've been in like crazy. I've been in situations. I ain't gonna speak on that. I ain't gonna speak on that. But for a while, I was doing a lot of country gigs, man. I love country, bro. I love country gigs, chat. Like, for real. I love them. They pay well. I love the fans. I love the bands. You know, you're not going to find bum country musicians. You're not. They're all insanely talented. You know, they all can play whatever genre of music they want to. They choose to play country. And I get why, man. I love the country music scene, bro. You know, for real. Like, those were some of the best gigs I've ever had, man. You know, and better than the metal gigs, you know. I'm not gonna say better than jazz gigs. Jazz gigs were cool. They were cool. The country gigs are a lot of liquor. You drink as much as you want. Jazz gigs, food, you want liquor, you know, they're really chill, you know. It's usually catered, you know. So the country gigs are like just, you know, they're fun though, man. They're fun. Yeah. Yeah. There's a song that I want to do. I can't remember the name of the song. Um, it's a Mahavishnu song. I used to actually do it with jazz band that we were a fusion band. Um, the bassist left Detroit and came to New Jersey where we were located. The guitarist went to Berkeley. Um, the percussionist who used to be the drummer, he became the percussionist. When I met those guys, you know, they were like, "Oh, you play drums?" They had heard about me. They were like, "Yeah, man, we heard about you." And I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "Yo, man," I was like, "Y'all play?" He's like, "Yeah." So I went to their house and they had a whole setup. And then, you know, I just started playing, and the drummer whose house it was, he was like, "Man, I just play percussion. You play drums." So he started playing percussion, but he became a beast on percussion. So then we were just like hired guns, and then we were looking for a guitarist, and we met this young kid, man, who actually he was in Berkeley at the time. So he would like come down on the weekend sometimes, you know. Well, we were kind of like, you know, whatever. So then, when he finally, we did this for like we did it for like 4 years. We would have other guitarists come in and sit in, but we saved his spot for him because he was like, you know, one of the main dudes. Like nah. So then when he finished Berkeley, you know, he popped right in. And then we just, you know, we used to terrorize people. Like, as far as music, we used to terrorize people, bro. I'm just talking right now. Bro, we used to terrorize people. We used to scare people. We used to purposely play outrageously fast and just clean. There's tapes floating around us. We were doing stuff that was just crazy. Like, musically insane, bro. You know, when you're in a band full of like hired gun musicians, after a while they would just give us music and be like, flesh it out, do what you do, put your stank on it. And since I knew production and engineering and mixing and all that stuff, and I play 4 instruments, so I'd be like, I'd be like, yo, Sean, I want you to play this on bass, because I'm left-handed. I'll be like, play. This is basically what I want you to do. Do whatever you want. This is basically what I want you to do, And the percussion, I really didn't have to do. Ronnie would just come right in. And then Jimmy Farkas, I would just play the chord, hey, that's the chord progression, whatever. You do your own inversions or whatever, put your stank on it, and we would just flesh out stuff, We'd take their music. Well, if it was somebody else's music, we'd all just take a part, be like, okay, I'll take this part. You take that part, you take that part, you take that part. And then if it was something, they'd be like, well, Mark, I don't think you should play that. I think you should play this. Or I'd be like, Jimmy, I don't think you should play that. I think you should, you know what I mean? So it was a collaborative effort. But people were kind of taking advantage of us, and they were stealing. We were coming up with stuff, and then bands would play our arrangements, and we'd go to gigs and see bands playing our arrangements. So after a while, I was like, well, what do you expect? We're giving them free work, man, So we started getting paid for it. Just sheetrock in the edge of the toms. The sheetrock dust, not crack rock dust. Sheetrock dust. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't even care if my stuff just if the heads get I find that I'll get a head just right and it sounds just right and I'll be like, I need to replace it with a new head. Maybe it'll sound better. And it doesn't. It doesn't sound like it did when you had the beat up head on it and you tuned it just the way. So now I'm good on it, man. I rarely change my heads, bro. I rarely change them. All right, Joe, I'm tired. What do you mean soaked? Sweating? I don't. It takes a while for me to sweat, but my muscles burn. My muscles are burning right now. Woof. Which is a good thing. It's good that your muscles burn. It's good that the wrist bones aren't like my muscles are burning. That's proper technique. Check it out, chat. I might change that light. I can't look in the camera. I don't know how people do it. They sit with those ring lights. I got a light right there, and it's hard. Like it's like right in my face. You know. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm just reading others. I'm reading other stuff. I know what you mean. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, I got this beat in my ear. It's like that old school fusion stuff. Like the 70s stuff. All right. There's bands that play stuff like this in Atlanta, or they used to be. I 1970s. Shannon Sharp. He got caught on IG Live smashing out a model, a IG model. You know how they call themselves model. Yay. Ooh. That stunk. That was like a stinky burp. BMX Mega Park. What year is this? I saw this. Ooh, at Decade Air. Blow the stink out of it. I got another one. I gotta get them out because I have other ones like this, but I'm too lazy to go and get them. I'm a lazy goat. I'm a lazy old school multi. You know what I'm gonna start doing, guys? Because I also do production. I need to get a Porta Studio, a Tascam Porta Studio. I think it's Tascam. Just for that lo-fi kind of vibe. D-Light. Wow. You guys don't know about D-Light. It was like a group. There's it's really two DJs, but it was a male and a female. And the female was they were both DJs, but the female sang. She was a good singer too. Ugh. Snaggletooth. Snagglepuss. Yeah. Pete Rock. Academics. The Golden Child. Back on Fig. You know what? I still would like to move. I would like to own a house in California. As what? No way. Whoa, on camera. Like lo-fi stuff like this. losing the sticking pattern. Know what I'm saying? Like this smell like old shoe stew, tuna fish, and hot mustard. I'll be back, y'all.